Hey everybody, it is Narrative Tarot. I'm here with Sun, May 2021 tarot reading. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel. I do monthly readings by planet, so if you feel like you have certain aspects or transits in your chart related to the Sun or Leo, then you can watch this video. If there's any other planet that you want to look for, then check those out. These are not love readings or anything like that. These are quite abstract as well. But yeah. So, that leaves you like 85% of the people. It's not love. But, it's abstract. It's larger issues in life, things like that. Dilemmas, problems, mindsets, stuff like that. So comment, like, subscribe, especially subscribe, because that's the content that I make for the planet readings. But I also do book reviews and other readings. You can check out the blog called The Red on thered.weebly.com. The link is on the about page. You can click it. I did Mars in Cancer, full moon in Scorpio, like blog posts on there, so you can check those out. And you can check me out on Instagram. I generally now only do weekly posts. So there's that. So the first reading that I'm doing, I'm going to use the Sun and Moon Tarot. And then the second one, I'll be using the Marguerite Peterson. But let's get into this. So we have in the upper world, the Prince of Pentacles. And the lower world, the Two of Wands, or Dominion. So, as far as the upper world, the Prince of Pentacles, you were meant to be riding something, or there's something that's helping you move. So, it's a car, maybe you're getting a car, you need a car, things like that. Like, here, it would make much more sense if the person had something to ride through. I know this is an animal. I know this is flames. They don't go together unless you eat food, eat meat, and stuff like that. All right. But this is important. So there's something important that you need to physically move locations. So you could be moving and you need a truck. You need storage bins, you need boxes. It seems like there's something physical that you need to move. Either it's money, it could be money, ducats, bills, whatever you want to call them. But it's something that you need. So Two of Wands, you can't think that. I'm going to say time is of the essence, because there's only so many experiences you can have without having this thing before you're going to get shown that you really need it. So invest in it, save up for it, move forward with the plan to acquire or obtain this or rent it or whatever. So if you need a car, make an actual plan for that with the Sun. Make an actual plan with that. Shine a light on all of the details that are needed, all of the details that you do know about the stuff. Ask people who are already steps ahead of where you are. So if you're just getting a car, or you're getting a certain kind of car that someone around you has. And if you hear stuff in the background, it's rain and stuff like that, but people that are ahead of you, ask them for advice, pros and cons and things like that. Take that into consideration. Look up reviews. I think the Sun for May 2021 is, particularly because half of it is in Taurus, is being very aware and cognizant of the things that you need, and it's not just the things required to maintain them, but the things required to obtain them. The things to consider when you're choosing something. That's what the page of the Prince of Pentacles is saying. It's you need that knowledge to move forward. The Two of Wands, it seems like you may be stuck there. So stuck there, you don't have the knowledge, you don't know, and there's a wall behind it. So I was looking up some articles and stuff like that, and it's behind a paywall. I'm like, fuck this. But the stuff that you need, you may have to go behind a paywall to get it. So if you have to pay for subscriptions, if you have to pay for stuff like that, definitely look into what you need. But you can like maybe do Wikipedia or something like that if it's a specific website. Look at the company and stuff like that and see, does it even offer, from your preliminary kind of research, the things that you need to begin with. And if it does and it allows you information to see beyond this flame here, then go for it. Otherwise, fuck it. But the Prince of Pentacles is something needed to go forward. Something needed to go forward and something needed to, that's physical, and just the preparation for that. So if you're looking for something that's preparing you, then definitely go for that. I'm going to do a second one because I feel like Sun needs a second one. It's one at a time. So we have 10 of Pentacles, wealth in the upper world, and the Fool in the lower world. So if you guys are still feeling the energy from Aries season, calm it down. And the only reason why I'm saying that is like it's not Aries season. You need to ground yourself just a little bit, because once you get into Aries season, like you're very liable to get carried away. Also with the flame here, the flame in the air can cause a great fire, versus if you just stick with earth. You can tend to it, you can look at it, you can watch it, you can nurture it, you have the capacity to. With the fire, it's like you have to control it, you have to put it out, you have to do so much stuff. So put your time and energy into things that are grow, not things that you'll have to maintain or become liabilities. Now, if you need a car, that does become kind of like a liability, in that like you have to pay a bill for it and stuff like that. But it gets you where you need to go, and the benefits far outweigh kind of like the liabilities, so to speak. In that, like, if you need to go to work, if you need to go get groceries, you need to do all that stuff, the time that you've traded off is actually a pretty good deal. The money that you make at work hopefully can cover the cost of that, your rent, your room, clothes, food, things that you need. And so that trade-off is necessary, and look at it. With the Fool in the lower world, don't take any risks based off of like hearsay. Don't take any risks off of things that you want, as far as like if you're not in the time and space to afford like a BMW, don't get that. Like, even if you feel like you've earned it, assess everything that you have. Like, you may not be able to get a BMW right now, and it's not because you don't have the credit or something like that. It's just you just may not be in the realm of full experience, the realm to fully experience it the way that you think. Like, you may get this BMW, you may get like a convertible or some shit like that, and then like it's like it jams or something like that. I just feel like the money that you're spending needs to be put in a better way when you're getting really high end ticket things that are signifiers of certain achievements in your life, as far as wealth and material kind of gain. Like, that shouldn't be the end all be all, I guess. And it definitely shouldn't be done on a whim. It shouldn't be done trying to show somebody. And we have 8 of Cups. I'm trying to show somebody something, because in the end it's you who ends up paying for it, and it's you who ends up taking it back to the shop, or spending all your time in the fucking maintenance, or just, you know, just a lot of shit when it comes to buying things that you're just using to show where you are in life, as opposed to just being there in life. And sometimes we want certain items to show that we've arrived, but it's like there's a certain arrival that we haven't met. Like, So you may arrive financially, but you may not have arrived like emotionally or mentally. And that should be taken into consideration. So when you get to the Ten of Pentacles and you've arrived in like multiple areas of your life, not just one, then you can go ahead and make certain purchases and not just on a whim that if you get it, you'll somehow magically get there. You need to kind of be there, and then this is an extension of that, because in Taurus season, I said in one of the other readings that the height of Taurus is to have communicated by doing the work necessary to move them forward, and then like the reward is actually being and experiencing what they've communicated. Like that's the ultimate height. It's not just obtaining it, it's not just obtaining the car, it's having the experience of being in the car, of driving to the restaurant, of going to the restaurant, of taking the person out, of being able to afford the valet, afford the neighborhood that you live in. Like it's an entire environmental thing. It's not just the item itself. So don't look into that as the end all be all. So yeah, I don't look at it end all be all. So your upper world, you need to work for the Ten of Pentacles, but it's Ten of Pentacles kind of means that you're well rounded as well. You aren't just in like the lower physiological needs. You've gone through like self-esteem, and you've gone through like a bunch of like, you know, you got like at least 3 of the 5 kind of things on the Maslow hierarchy needs. You got that working for you. You're into the 4th, you're heading to the 5th. You're not on the first one, essentially. Like you shouldn't be getting a BMW if you've just kind of secured the first level. Like that wouldn't be right. So make sure that it's like the experience that you ultimately are trying to circulate or be or have is kind of matching the effort that you put in, and then like the actual material, you know, because a lot of people, not going to talk shit, but a lot of people they buy a Maserati and then they go to like the crab shack, the local crab shack, like elevate it a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes people go to certain places that are considered lower than what their material thing is, just to show other people. That's another thing, making sure you're not showing people, trying to give them your ass to kiss because you've reached a certain level, right? Because the sun is Leo. Yeah, I'm Leo moon. So I feel like when we accomplish stuff, we do like to shit on people, but you can't do that, because it's like, when people do that, it tends to end up like they get the stuff taken away in very brutal ways. So you may go to the crab shack thinking, you know, yeah, like I'm successful and I'm doing work and people are lazy and blah, 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 and then you come out the crab shack and like your shit's on bricks or something. So just make sure that you're not like trying to do that, because life has a way of like throwing you down. Holding you down and taking your shoes or something like that. And you know, the sun, you have to have a little bit of humor with it as well. Don't be pessimistic, but like, you know, you can be sarcastic or ironic or something like that. I think it kind of keeps you level and keeps you grounded. So stay grounded. I know the sun is like way up there and shit, and you know, we revolve around the sun, but you would do better if you like didn't do that. So yeah. Alright, so we're gonna go to the second reading, which is Margaret Peterson. So this is what the box looks like. And it's a lovely deck. I fucking love this deck. It's not my soul deck, but it does goods to me. My soul deck is with the Shadowscapes. That's my baby. Mainly because I have Pisces in my chart, and that deck speaks to me. This one speaks to me a lot. It's really, really, really helpful. It's a sun deck for me. That's why I use it for sun readings. But it's a deck that kind of inspires you to be all you can be, illuminate all you can illuminate, and just moving forward. So I'm gonna do 3. I don't know if I'm gonna feel them, but I want you instead. You might have a lot of green going on. I don't know. You got a lot of coin stuff. You got a lot of pentacles. So we have the Son of Coins. Bam. Son of Coins. Then we have the Ace of Flames. Then we have the 6 of Coins. With this card, always think of like someone's like a belly, like you know when people do body like belly casts and stuff like that. So if you're having a baby, congrats. At the bottom of the deck we have Mediatrix, which would be the Temperance card. So you know. So with this Ace of Flames, it's like that's drawing me, but it's like I should be paying attention to other things. So with this in May, I know there's going to be something. There's going to be a flame kind of thing. Don't get too drawn to that. Okay, so coming over here. Don't get too drawn to the flame stuff because the Fool is also Aries, which is fire as well. Things that are okay. So this Mediatrix here, you may be trying to avoid things that are not of the light. And what I mean by that is not like some demonic shit or some like low vibrational shit. I'm just saying things that are less known, understood, things that may look like outside of your nature. I'm somebody who like definitely is someone who thinks that people have this whole debate about STEM versus the arts. Things like that. Things that like split you. You know? Things that split you in two. Things that make you feel like you have to choose this or that. Like that's not a positive experience. Because you end up splitting yourself and you're not whole. And then you try to be whole and it's like you have to work on the environment necessary for you to be whole, and that takes a lot of knowledge and courage, Ace of Flames, within yourself to do that. So if you are denying your moon side, then you need to look into that. I said in a previous video about, I think it was a Scorpio full moon. I guess I'll link it. But the Scorpio full moon is, I was talking about when people are really overly cheerful, but you can like see it in their eyes, like they're like one step away from like going off on somebody or like cracking, and it's just this like energy, this like thin layer. I describe it as a thin energy, like buzzing veil that's just there, but it's like you can feel when someone's like faking it, but also is like one step away from like losing their shit. So you could be a sun that's quite bright and bubbly and things like that, but you could be like one step away of losing your shit. And so what you need to focus on then is the Son of Coins and the 6 of Coins. So if this is a chakra, these are two pieces that go into that chakra. I don't know what chakra it is. It could be your root, sacral, solar plexus. It doesn't really matter what chakra it is, but it's some whatever chakra it is quite split with this Mediatrix. It's split. It has a night and a day. It has a shadow and a light side. And so you're supposed to be working on that this month. Working on the split dichotomy or binary of this chakra. So you literally could be, if you want to deal with a chakra, you can draw a circle. I don't know what chakra it is for you, but you can draw a circle and you can draw a circle, you can color it, and then you can color each side different color or whatever. You can write your emotions in one side, emotions in the other side. Don't try to do like happy, sad, mad, elated, stuff like that. Just, it's almost like, okay, you get in the zone and you write down stuff. So I don't know if you're going to listen to particular music or have something particularly to say, and then you flip. It's almost like you have to use, okay, this is something my friend was talking about the ability to use both sides of your brain. Okay, I'm going to say this. You make a circle, and it's probably going to have to be a pretty big circle. Make a circle. One half you write with your right hand, one half you write with your left hand. See if I'm not talking about check for the handwriting. See what ends up happening when you do that. See what words you use when you describe one side as opposed to the other. You know, if you're writing with your left side and the words are very rudimentary, the sentences are blocky, things like that, it may just show that you have a gap in that area, whatever side, that you're writing with, or whatever side of your brain that's being used to write with your left versus your right. See what that is. See how that works. See if something's empty or not is filled up, and then work on that side. That's gonna help because we have ace of feathers or ace of swords with that, so it is like a mental thing. It will be a mental exercise. So it could be your crown chakra, it could be the upper chakras as opposed to the lower ones, even though the color would represent the more lower ones. But look for that information. What is it relating to? Okay. So you have death as well. So yeah, it definitely is like two different worlds. So death and they go like one after the other. So death and mediatrix. So it definitely does seem like it's a split, and so you may also have like a split personality or things like that. Check out my blog, The Red. You may find comfort in some of the stuff that I was talking about there with regards to Cancer Mars and full moon of Scorpio, but especially the Cancer Mars stuff, because I did talk about splitting a masculine and feminine there. But there is some sort of split. It could be between daytime and nighttime schedules. It could be between two things. How you exist when you're stretched between two things. So it could be your work and your home. It could be your partner and your children. It could be your partner and your job. It could be your job and your kids. It could be your mom and your dad. It could be your brother or your sister. It's like it's like two things. Two different things, and it's like you're in the middle, and how do you deal with them, and how do you show up with both of those, and how can you be a little less fragmented when dealing with them to be a whole person, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's something I've struggled with as well, dealing with like masculine and feminine energies within myself, and how I act with masculines and how I act with feminines. And it's, they have differences, but I think that what is being said is that it shouldn't be such a hard split between it, that someone doesn't receive the same amount of interaction. So you have to figure that out. I do think it's a mental process, but it could be relationships between people. But I think it's more relationship maybe within yourself, of becoming whole within yourself and becoming whole within your entire life, having an understanding of your whole life, understanding of the fact that your life, even though it encompasses many different things, is a whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like, your job isn't your life. Like, it's not just your job that's your life. It's not just your kids that's your life. It's not just your neighborhood club that's your life. It's like all of those things are your life. And I think people tend to be a little bit more lopsided than they should be with regards to stuff like that, because they're so, I don't want to say afraid, but like, it's very, I can see how it's very tiring to have all of those things going at once. And sometimes what needs to be understood is that they're not going to be all going at once. It's like, even though, and going at full steam, like, you can be at 50% at your job, 75% with your kids, 100% with your neighborhood, 85% with your like spouse. It's like sometimes they're not all going to be at 100, and I think there may be a little bit of a release work that needs to be done to have that thought that you need to have them all, and that somehow you're a failure if you don't. Like, if you don't fail, like, this is kind of like, if you don't have it all together, then like somehow you failed, and that's a little bit of perfectionism, and that is kind of a little bit of codependency. So I guess I'm gonna have to read that book for the book club, really actually finish it. But it's just a bunch of, it's emerging. So for sun, if you're rejecting your moon kind of energy, don't do that. And I don't even know if the sun moon thing is related to masculine and feminine. It's just two aspects of yourself. It's like whatever philosophy you have, like, I know they use more like masculine, feminine, but I kind of really feel like it's more of a binary that doesn't exist with that. Like, it doesn't, that isn't the binary. I don't know what it is particularly, but that's not the binary, which is very interesting, because usually when people talk about this, it's masculine and feminine, but it's like two aspects of yourself that don't exist. So maybe you need to do some pathfinding to figure out what those two sides are and give them specific names and give them specific attributes. And if you want to pull in masculine and feminine and see which one more correlates or coincides for the purpose of being able to communicate it to other people a little bit better, then do that. But I feel like it's pieces of nature that sit outside of masculine and feminine, or what we know it to be. There's like another, and that may be the emergence of something within yourself, or culturally, or cosmically, or consciously, that I'm picking up on. But it may be going beyond masculine and feminine. It may be the next level of that, of what that means, of what a binary means. This isn't about sexuality either, so it could be, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels like just wholly within oneself, the totality of oneself, and sexuality is just like one part. Even, it's a whole experience, but it is one part of yourself. Okay, so it's your death self and your awake self, your sleep self and your awake self, your death self and your birth self. So, okay, death self, birth self, sleep self, awake self. Is when you're hot and when you're cold. Those are kind of the binaries that it's coming up with, as opposed to masculine and feminine. Those are stronger binaries, dichotomies, splits for you to explore than masculine and feminine, For some people's journeys, that's more important. That brings up more energetic signatures for you to grasp onto, to solve or uncover or find strength in. It proves to be much more valuable to you to look at life through that lens as opposed to the masculine and feminine. So like I said, there's more than just masculine and feminine. There's more dichotomies and binaries and things like that, and opposites and polarities and dualities than just that. And you may have to go exploring those things to figure out which one actually fits for how you view life and how you process life and how you are going to make that circle to split it. Yeah. It's work to do that. It's work to figure that out, but it's very rewarding. And it does, with justice, it does you a lot more justice to see it. It doesn't look like everybody else's, but that's okay because you're still getting the same kind of, not necessarily the same exact work, because this vibrates at a different frequency, it has a different resonance, it has a different way of being, a way of reason, a different reason for being. But you can still find yourself kind of like in the dance of life. Like you're not so alien as to not have a place on earth with regards to how this works. Is actually quite nice, and it broadens the cosmic perspective for people who don't have that masculine feminine thing that they're working through in this lifetime. Some people may have worked past that. I have not. But they may have worked past that, and these are other levels to that, or they just never had that to begin with. And so with the sun, you may not have had that to begin with. So that's a great thing. That's an interesting perspective that you have to offer the world. And so offer it by exploring it, offer it by putting them together. I think that it's a great thing to do. So that's what I have for Sun. Yeah, Sun, May 2021. I'll see you guys in June, but you can watch any of the other monthlies that I put up, book reviews and things like that. I'll be doing some more videos on my tarot decks soon, so definitely keep in touch with that. And you can check out the Red, which is my blog, or my Instagram if you want to, but especially the Red because I wrote stuff and I want people to read it. So thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.